Now, the American Health Secretary, RFK Jr., is on a firing spree. The top American leader has in fact sacked all the vaccine experts from a panel of U.S. Center for Disease Control and Prevention. On Monday, RFK Jr. in fact fired all 17 members of the panel and will now be replacing them. And this move has triggered a critical response from several vaccine scientists. Now, Robert Kennedy Jr., who has long been a vaccine skeptic, took this step as part of a longer process of the Trump administration to overhaul the existing regulation on vaccines. Now, the Health and Human Services Committee advises the Center for Disease Control and Prevention on vaccine recommendations. RFK Jr. has for years cast aspersions about the safety and the efficacy of vaccines. In a Wall Street Journal op-ed, Robert Kennedy Jr. stated that the move is to ensure that the U.S. people receive the safest vaccines possible. He's also claimed that the CDC committee has long been plagued with persistent conflicts of interest. Kennedy Jr. further went on to claim that the CDC committee has become little more than a rubber stamp for any vaccine, and that most of the advisory community on immunization practices members received substantial funding from the pharma companies. Now, this move has come just 15 days before the Advisory Committee on Immunization Practices meets on the 25th of June. The committee is scheduled to vote on recommendations for vaccines for COVID, flu and other illnesses in the upcoming meeting. Now, all the sacked panel members had been appointed when the Biden administration was in charge. Now, RFK Jr.'s move to remove the members now paves the way for the current administration under Donald Trump to choose a majority of the committee, which otherwise they would not have been able to do until 2028.
Mainly, we're told in the Mennonite community.
All right, my colleague Susan Tehrani is, of course, with us with more details on this. Now, Robert F. Kennedy, Susan, has gone on record and said that he's not an anti-vaxxer, because that's the perception that had gone round. He says that he is someone who wants the American people to get immunized, provided there's a need for it. But the fact that he's gone on this sacking spree so that he can get his appointees in place for this committee, what does it say?
So his argument, as you rightly mentioned, is that it's been conflict of interest with this committee. Many members of them have conflict of interest with pharmaceutical companies that push for certain vaccines. And he says that that's not to the benefit of the American people, and this is to restore public trust. That being said, even Republicans like Bill Cassidy on Capitol Hill said that one of the reasons he confirmed RFK Jr. was that he was told that, the issue of vaccine is not going to become a sort of tug of war in his committee, under his leadership. And he's concerned that, people that aren't going to be as competent as before will lead these committees, hence actually causing distrust in vaccines and not bringing in public trust. So there are two ways to look at this. We'll have to wait and see who he appoints on these committees. But as for now, he says it's conflict of interest. It's a push by these individuals possibly to get these vaccines into the government and to buy them. The pharmaceutical industry, of course, is a very powerful lobby. But then on the other hand, again, as you mentioned, there are concerns that, well, who is he going to replace them with? What if they are anti-vaxxers, even though he said that I'm not an anti-vaxxer? So that's where the infighting is at this point.
Interesting. Thank you very much, Susan Tehrani, for joining us with all those details there.